show. I am your host, Christene Marie. We are reviewing lesson 88, which is a review lesson of lessons, 75 and 76. But we are going to just do a quick review of some of the preceding lessons. Lesson 45, God is the mind with which I think. Lesson 46, God is the love in which I forgive. Lesson 47, God is the strength in which I trust. Lesson 48, there is nothing to fear. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. Lesson 49. Lesson 50, I am sustained by the love of God. Lesson 61, I am the light of the world. Lesson 62, forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. Lesson 63, the light of the world brings peace to every mind through my forgiveness. Lesson 64, let me not forget my function. Lesson 65, my only function is the one God gave me. Lesson 66, my happiness and my function are one. Lesson 67, love created me like itself. Lesson 68, love holds no grievances. Lesson 69, my grievances hide the light of the world in me. Lesson 70, my salvation comes from me. Lesson 71, only God's plan for salvation will work. Lesson 72, holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Lesson 73, I will, there be light. Lesson 74, there is no will but God's. Lesson 75, and this is the deeper review. The light has come. In choosing salvation rather than attack, I merely choose to recognize what is already there. Salvation is a decision already made. Attack and grievances are not there to choose. That is why I always choose between truth and illusion, between what is there and what is not. The light has come. I can but choose the light, for it has no alternative. It has replaced the darkness, and the light has come. These would prove useful forms for specific applications of this idea. This situation or circumstance cannot show me darkness, for the light has come. The light in you is all that I would see. Insert name. I would see in this only what is there. You know what I really love? I really, really love the alternative form for specific application today. The light in you is all that I would see. Insert name. Y'all, we really do. We talked about this yesterday. So I love the continuance from the idea yesterday that we get to choose what we focus on. There's this concept where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So we get to choose where we place our attention, where we kind of funnel our intention, where we funnel our expectation and focus and anticipation and all of that. We get to choose, am I going to focus on the good in you, in the situation, in me, in the world, or am I going to focus on the shadow? I was actually just last night. So when I kind of went on my journey of knowing, and even as I was writing my book, I tried really hard not to read I tried not to read philosophy, to be honest with you, because I just wanted it to be from my own experience and revelation. And yesterday I was reading about Carl Jung's shadow, and I was only reading it in the context of this book by David Hawkins. So I've listened to the book Letting Go, and now I'm reading it, and it's just been a study for me over the last 6 months. I feel like I eat books. It's like taking time to digest it and apply it in a really, really kind of intentional way rather than just breezing through a book and moving on to the next. I will take like many, many months, if not longer, with specific books. And as I was reading about the shadow, it actually applies to a lot of what we talk about in so many ways. The shadow that we see in the world and the darkness, so often it is a projection of what we're ignoring in or about ourselves, of what we're afraid to admit about ourselves. And I thought that was incredibly profound. So until we take time to know our own shadow, can we then be free to experience and enjoy the light in others? Otherwise, we're just projecting that which we're suppressing. And I thought that was incredibly profound. And I'm sure that there's just so much more there if I was to do a deep dive into Carl Jung. I really don't know. I really don't know much about him, but I thought that was so wise. And I've seen that myself. We judge in others that which we judge most harshly in ourselves. And that's so incredibly true. But if we have and are willing to do the work to kind of like get the shadow out and acknowledge it, then we ourselves can move up in terms of, and this is where I love Hawkins' framework around emotions. He effectively assigns numerical value to emotions. So shame, it has a number, I think, of 20. And then pride is 150. And, there's a lot of other numbers in between there, like guilt, anger. And then you get up to courage, which is level 200. And then joy, I think, is 400. And so the goal is that you're kind of moving up and out of these more negative, heavy, dark modes of emoting or what's going on inside of you. But until we acknowledge what's going on, until we acknowledge, so often it's fear, then we can kind of break through and get to the next emotion and kind of level up from there. And ultimately, we want to be existing and coming from a place of love. But if we're hiding suppressed fear or suppressed emotions that we're not addressing, we actually end up not only not being able to get to the next level of emotions ourselves, but we're also projecting it on other people. And so this concept of the light in you is all that I would see, man, that's a choice. We choose how we're going to view other people, and we choose how we get to view ourselves. And so the question is what do we want to see? Because so much of it does actually depend on what we want. I didn't want to heal for about 6.5 years from my brother-in-law being killed. I wanted to carry the pain close to my chest because I didn't, I felt like almost I was keeping him alive longer through grief rather than keeping him alive longer through joy and being able to honor him with a life that I lived fully. I was afraid that if I chose joy that he would be forgotten. And so I chose to exist kind of in that darkened state of grief and not really live to the fullness because I didn't want the light. And so y'all, at the end of the day, it's like, what's our core root? What do you even desire? Yesterday, we were talking about the will of God. And so if we want the will of God, we actually have to change and allow for our wants to align under his will. And so that's just food for thought this morning of what do I really want and what am I willing to let go of to be able to effectively align myself under the hierarchy of what is God's will? What does he want? And who was I even created to be in the first place? Because it is glorious. I really believe that. I believe every single one of us was created with so much intention. And there's something beautiful for you and I to accomplish with our lives. Every single person, there is no exception to this. But it's all about what we choose and how we choose to live. And are we going to let go and ultimately come into alignment with who God says that we are? Lesson 76. I am under no laws but God's. Here is the perfect statement of my freedom. I am under no laws but God's. I am constantly tempted to make up other laws and give them power over me. I suffer only because of my belief in them. There is no real effect on me at all. I am perfectly free of all the effects of all laws save God's, and his are the laws of freedom. For specific forms in applying this idea, these would be helpful. My perception of this shows me I believe in laws that do not exist. I see only the laws of God at work in this. Let me allow God's laws to work in this and not my own. It reminds me, hold on, I'm going to drink. This reminds me of what my dad told me when I was probably in my early 20s. He said, if you can just believe that God is good, and really actually taking the time to know what are the laws of God, but really understanding the laws of love and understanding, and this is where cause and effect kind of come into play too. Like, oh, what I think about is what usually ends up being my experience. In so many ways, we find what we're looking for. And so if I'm willing to look for the goodness of God and look for joy and look for delight and light in other people, we're going to find that, because God has made he's made all of us in the image of himself. So if we're looking for, where is God showing up? Where is God good? Where is God faithful? We're going to find that every day, all the time. And that doesn't mean it's not going to be painful at times. But if we're looking for redemption and we want redemption and we're willing to do the work for redemption, then we're surely going to experience that. I'm just going to take a moment to jump in here in the chat. Good morning. Good to see you. I still don't know how to say your name. The one who said, hey, with your, I wish I knew how to address you, but good morning. I'm doing well. Thanks for hanging out with us. Uriel, good morning. Winston, Uriel, you asked, what script are you reading? I'm reading A Course in Miracles. We read a lesson every single day. Mayra, good morning. Armandalo, good morning. Thanks for hanging out. Melvin, Olski, Winston, I don't know what you're seeing, my friend, but I'm glad you're here. The Dax Anderson Show, good morning. I hope you're doing well. HB, good morning. Easy, thanks for hanging out. Luis, you're good, girl. Good morning. Bruno, good morning. Mr. Shag Dog, Plasma, Throbbing, good morning. Armandolo, I love, when light is in you, when light's in you, you really attract a lot of people. And people see the light, but it's also, so it's our choice to see the light and to be the light in both regards. All right, going through the chat here. Preston, good morning. Scarecrow, good morning. Paxton, I'm so glad you're here. Preston, good morning. Thank you. Wycliffe. I'm with you on that. He says, you're not supposed to accept your shadow. You're supposed to work on yourself, acknowledge, but repent. I completely agree. Armandala says, God is the only judge. We are here to love one another, not to judge one another. So good. David White, good morning. The great one. Hi. I'm glad you're here this morning. Tyler Sawyer, good morning. Dark dog, that's funny. The one says, I like hiding. It feels comfortable. It's peaceful. I love that you just brought this up. Guys, I had a moment last night that I wanted to, that was so meaningful for me that I wanted to share with you. So we've talked a lot about loneliness on here. There's been a lot of folks coming forward and just expressing how lonely life is and how do I go out and meet people? How do I find the one? Just a lot of questions around that. And last night, I was in Phoenix and I didn't have anything to do last night. And so I took myself out on a date and I went to dinner and then I took myself dancing and it was so much fun. And I met this whole group of people. And honestly, it was uncomfortable though at first. I walk into this and I never go out. I never go out to bars. I put on my little cowgirl boots and I went to this bar and I just walk up and I had a plan. So I went up to one of the servers and I said, hi, I'm new here. I just want to dance. I have my stuff. Can I give it to you guys to hide behind the hostess stand? And what should I do? And she guided me to, she was like, go stand back there. And I know some of the folks here and I'll ask them to come dance with you. So I sat there for 2 songs. Nobody came up. And so I just was sitting there enjoying it. And then this guy came over and he was so sweet and so kind. He introduced himself and he was like, we have a whole group here. There's Janelle, there's Jennifer, there's Bobby. And then we danced for 2 hours and then I went home. But here's the thing. It felt uncomfortable to walk in and not know anybody. I had to sit there for about probably a good 7 minutes. I knew that I saw people kind of watching me and being like, why is this woman here? Who is she? So it's withstanding kind of the awkward moment. But man, on the other side of that, it was so much fun. But y'all, it does take a semblance of courage to kind of get out of the comfort zone, to get out of that which we're familiar with. And on the other side of that is growth. On the other side of that is a lot of joy and even connection and community. You know, we live in a time where we're more desperate for connection than ever before. And there really is a loneliness epidemic in so many ways. And so I guess the question to all of us is, if we actually are lonely, are we lonely enough to do something about it? So your note reminded me of that, because at the end of the day, it actually is more comfortable to hide. But are we hiding our light along with that? You know? And I would encourage all of us, like, is my light shining bright if I'm not existing and doing anything that's uncomfortable for me? If I'm purely existing in my own comfortable bubble, then and that's for you to answer. I don't know. I think a lot of times that can be true. You know, I do the same thing every day. It's comfortable, it's easy, it's peaceful, and my light shines bright. I think that's wonderful. I think it's good, but I think that each one of us needs to ask that question. Am I shining to my brightest potential, to the potential that God created me for? Am I living in accordance with that? Rob, good morning. Rick, surrender all. Have met, good morning. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. So good. Bobby says, God isn't good. God is great. I love that. 4748. I'm glad I subscribed. I'm so glad. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. One Take Adventure. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Sax. Good morning from the North Woods of Wisconsin. Good morning. Thanks for hanging out with us. Terry, your soul chooses what to believe, and that is what you will find. And I think we actually have power over the soul. I think that that's something that, that's what you will find. I completely agree. And we do get to have the power of choice. Like, that's probably the number one most underutilized. What do we even call it? Underutilized ability. I don't know. But y'all, it really is powerful. The way that we show up, we get to choose that, which is just so exciting. Arnold T. Pants, good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm new to the channel. What's it about? Good morning. We talk about, the Knowing Show is dedicated to the cultivation of the human being. And it's about cultivating our intelligences, the intellectual intelligence, emotional intelligence, and physical intelligence and spiritual intelligence. And the morning show, we talk more so about kind of training the mind and also the spirit. Andra, good morning. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Christopher Adams, happy Palm Sunday. Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Edda Dude, good morning. I hope you have a blessed day, my friend. Forms keep. John, good morning. Hi there. Love tests us too, so that we may be comforted by trust. That's beautiful. Stan, good morning. Thomas. Hello, friends. We're talking about lesson 75 and 76 from A Course in Miracles. Patrick McBride, good morning. Jeremy, Brad. Stan, you can ask a question so long as it's on topic and respectful. All right. Fen, good morning. Arlene, good morning from North Dakota. Nice. We've got some folks in the Midwest here. I love it. And I guess upper West, Northwest. Or I guess it's not even, why do they say, it's funny they say Midwest when really it could be Mideast. That's interesting. Raymond, good morning. Ben Drums. All right, I'm just scrolling down towards the bottom. C.S. Lewis wrote about miracles. What book did he write? I'd love to take a look. I really do love so much of Lewis's writings. All right, I am scrolling down to some of the recent chats here. All right. Uh-oh. My computer just froze. Okay, sorry, my computer froze. I was like, oh, no. All right, y'all, thank you so much for coming on this morning. Those 2 lessons, I'm just going to read them one more time. The light has come, lesson 75, and I'm under no laws but God's are our lessons for today. I will be back on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. And then we also have the knowing. Actually, you know what? Tomorrow night is a little bit different. I'm going to be going live not in the evening. I'm going to be going live in the morning at 9 a.m. and then again, probably around 2. I have a dinner tomorrow night. So tomorrow's a little bit funky. So I'm going to schedule them out. I'm going to schedule my 9 a.m. tomorrow where we're going to do this Course in Miracles, and then we'll probably go live around 2 o'clock. So with that, thank you all so much for joining me today. Guys, have a happy Palm Sunday. Remember, we get to choose. We get to choose how we show up. We get to choose the type of way and manner we engage with the world. We get to choose if we see other people, the light in them, or if we see all the negative. So we have a lot of power, and I hope and pray that every single one of us utilizes that power for good, to see the light in others and really walk in the fullness of our own potential, who we can be, who we were created to be in the first place. Because each one of us was created for a glorious reason and a glorious mission. So, Sender V, so good to see you. Alexi, YouTuber 1670, Quinn. Thank you guys so much for coming on here. I will see you all tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, and then